All right, welcome to another edition of JTJU's War Recaps. We're looking at Chive on 2's War, and we're going to be looking at a DUD attack. That guy's GoWiPe sLo and a Max Town Hall 9. Of course, you can always take a look at the other attacks in this recap by using the cards that now are available with YouTube. Up at the top right corner there, if you click on it, you'll see links, cards to the other two attacks. But with that said, let's get to the attack. Alright, so let's take a look at a DUD attack so we can learn from the mistakes versus the awesome success of others. In this case, that guy is going to show us how not to do a GoWiPe sLo with Max Town Hall 9, attacking Bobo Jake. The attack style is correct. I mean, if you take a look at the base, you've got the ADs all in mid. It's a little big. I don't like the big size of the box. We're usually looking for like 10 on 10 with the ADs touching or inside, but this is still workable. When they're all in there, I'd still say, why not? Plus, you can walk up through that one AD and get in, right? So the style is there, but let's take a look at what happens to that guy. So first off, he triggers, and the trigger's not bad, but there's something that happens that he reacts to wrong. Right, and so, well, let me just keep going, and then I'll ask you what happened. Okay, so what do you think happened? Right, so now the trigger happened. Everything's out. So you're like, well, successful trigger, yes or no? Well, you should know it's no because this is a DUD replay. When you're doing GoWiPe, you need to have your kill team ideally either be part of the team that drives into mid, or at least sets one of the flanks for that team. So then the question is, where is the attack line? Well, if he's triggering here, you either gotta commit up here and attack from this side, and then set up golems and move in through here and go in. But we want this AD down, right? So clearly the line needs to be through here, so that we can take out the AD as we get to mid, which enables our loon snipe later. So the line is clearly through this AD, has to be. And if it is, then we want the kill team somewhere down here. But if we want it somewhere down here, we want this archer tower down, because otherwise it's harassing our troops the whole time. Doesn't have to be, but we want it to be. We didn't get the archer tower down. And if we would have just done a slight adjustment and done more of a drop of here with all the hogs, they would have gone like this and done the same trigger after dropping the archer tower. By having them all together on 3 different buildings, you don't get any of them down, and they end up dying. They get the trigger, but they don't take out any of the buildings to enable a clean kill of the clan castle later on. So it's not obvious what was wrong, but that's what ends up messing with him. And so he sees that. I mean, he realizes that he can't kill at 6. I don't know if he intended to kill at 3 or not, but I think he did intend to kill at 6, because watch how he reacts to when the stuff gets up there. He's like, oh, and so he's trying to position. So he's like queen. He's trying to group it. And at some point he's like, screw it. And he says, let's go back to 6. But that, again, is the archer towers in range. So it might have just been a poorly planned. Like he didn't have a firm idea in his mind of where he was going to kill and why. But notice here, like he was actually in a recoverable position right there. The CC was moving in a pretty solid line. And so with a K1323, you just want, if you deploy like you did his witches, maybe a little bit more like here, they would establish a skeletal line there, and then you could flank kill. Not the ideal, but you could flank kill with wizards off the side. Back sniping, the most important thing is to back snipe the witch. So that's it. You're in position to do the job, to take out what really is dealing with it. Dropping the king is not the idea we want to do. The king should be held back for driving to the mid. If you're dropping kings and golems as part of the CC kill, odds are game is over, or you've seriously caused yourself to have a limitation later on in the attack. So let's keep going. So here goes the king, and as we thought, now here's this panic drop of his golems. But the king can't survive in that. Dropping the king into that never even uses his ability right away, so he doesn't even get the heal part of the king ability out. The golems are just basically standing at 6 o'clock together, which has its own issues, right? So if I pause for a second and talk about that, what do we always want to see with any GoWiPe version? GoWiPe straight up, GoWiPe sLo, GoWiPe ho, whatever. we want to set two flanks that are about 10 to 15 tiles apart that are locked on. Each golem locks onto an individual defense building and stands there while the wizards cut behind them. And we usually do that after the CC team is killed. If the golems are right when it's almost over, where the CC team is like all distracted trying not to die, dropping them in the very beginning of it, put your golems at extreme risk, put your king at extreme risk, and put your then for your later phases, which need these two flank positions set up so that your team can drive cleanly between them, to fail. Let's keep going. And that's what happens, right? So the golems are in mid together, grouped up, and so now we're going to get pressure from both sides. We're going to lose a lot of troops to flanking fire of your lighter troops. Like witches are going to die. There goes a wizard. There goes a wizard. So he tries to compensate by early drops of the loons, and part of that is okay because I mean this AD's now down, so it's like sniping this guy's good. Sniping this guy is probably a little far afield, right? There's nothing really here to support it. We would probably want to have the team in mid to be attracting fire and then to come in at him. But you'll notice here this Expo is going to be taking on that loon as he flies in. It's going to take a lot of damage. Trying to snipe this position is a little too close to over to this side. You know, again, we ideally would want to have this to be able to move through and take it. So it's a little too soon for that guy. So in effect, he's rushing his loons because he knows he doesn't have a lot of units left. Sometimes, though, it's better to wait. Even though you feel like you're losing, probably you are going to lose. So you should wait and see if there's an moment opportunity where you can really get a reversal, in the wrestling terms, and actually change your fortunes. Pushing for a reversal probably doesn't going to work for you. So he keeps going. And he's doing all right. I mean, it's not horrible, but it probably is already crippled by his early play, whereas his king went down and all of his weaker units didn't get protection. And so now here's where you kind of see the big issue. See, we have not had any penetration into mid, and he's dropping his loons because he's basically in a panic. He's like, dude, I'm not going to get there. Just drop everything. So he starts sniping stuff without protection. So this stuff's just going to take it out. It's not going to get there. But the real question is, why didn't he get to mid? What went wrong? His golems are grouped, so he got snipe flanked, I think is the biggest problem. If he would have had distinct flanks where golems were separated and driving more in the mid with the king and the queen and the witches, look how these guys are over here. It's just, and we lost, but we needed the main force to be driving this way with a jump right here, which I think he put down, but then there was nobody there to take it. Then he might have got to mid and driven up. So really, again, it's all waterfalling back to that initial reaction of planning through, how am I going to deal with the clan castle? Let's clear it out again. Let's speed it up a little bit. Because really, at this point, he's just panic dropping his loons. And his golems actually end up getting in and take out that AD, which if he would have dropped his loons now, you'll see they have success because that AD is down. So all, like, what was it, 8 loons he dropped early? If he would have waited a little bit, might have had a little bit more damage. I don't think they would have gotten past that max expo. He really needed to have a team get to mid, and he didn't get it done. But it all ties back to the CC kill and the flanks. Set him up. Set him up, that guy. All right, that wraps up this stud. Oh, scratch that. DUD recap. If you want to see some of the stud replays, hit the white dot up in the right corner. That'll get you cards to different videos. Otherwise, of course, good luck in your wars. And don't forget, high five me in the forums and our YouTube if you liked what you got. Talk to you guys soon.